I'm Peter Gargaro. I'm the youth production coordinator at Bill Rick Access Television, from Detroit originally.
Great.
I wish I had a brain. There's a scarecrow joke in there somewhere, but it's all her. Yeah.
Lori Belche, I actually am from Somerset Access Television, and I am on the Alliance for Community Media Northeast board as well, and hoping that I can bring some of the things that help me get through my day with my tiny little station.
I'm John Hauser. I'm from Access Humboldt, the outlier in Northern California. And I usually talk about archiving, but the toys I have here today are more about distribution of content when you don't necessarily have internet access.
Cool. So to kick off my presentation here, Canva. Who has heard of Canva? Raise your hand. Oh, I'm so happy that you haven't, because it makes it that much more meaningful. So Canva is literally, people have said to me, do you work for Canva? Because I am like so incredibly excited about it all the time. But so what it is, I will just repeat this. It's an online graphic design platform. It offers free access to a wide assortment of design tools and options, as well as premium options for paying customers. So what does that mean? It means a lot of different things for what you do. Who shares links on your Facebook page and you have a thumbnail that pops up and you don't want that? Right, you want to tailor the content, right, that you're putting out to the public, because this is a representation of who you are, and you are a hopefully forward-thinking community media center that wants to have a good, good image. So what Canva can offer are really nice ways for you to create custom images. So I don't even know how I discovered this, but I basically try to tell everybody about it, and I've heard very positive responses from people.
There's a mobile app for it too, I think.
Yeah. I talked about this at Pasadena, and someone actually called me after the conference saying, thank you so much. So as you can see, I created the first presentation slide right here that I used for today. But I want to show you this. This is our brochure that I made. So this is the main interface, right? So you have, this is your main interface. You log in, and they have all these different dimensions already ready for you. So they have Facebook cover dimensions, Facebook posts, Instagram posts. They even do stuff for letterheads. I've used this for letterheads, for resumes. I mean, I also made business cards in here. So what's really nice is that it basically, the creative design part is really laid out for you, and then it's customizable once you have like a template. So, so like this is just an image, right? Move it around, it's transparent. But I have a whole bunch of uploads over here. These are all these images that we have uploaded like over time. We did some stuff, and they also provide you with a bunch of free graphics constantly. Like literally their job is to come up with new templates and new fonts. They have all original font types. And they also have all these like interesting little, like they're all vector files, which means that everything's scalable. So you can do this, right? And then you can go send it back. And then select that, send to the back. In theory, you could do that. I don't know why it's not. Go to back. So clearly I wouldn't want this guy here. But the idea, right, is that you can make stuff look really good. So all of this is movable. Now why do this versus Photoshop? I mean, honestly, this was made in 20 minutes because all this information for our classes it's already on our website, right? So it's just like playing around with font, what looks good, trying to come up with a scheme, This is all information that we already have on our website about joining and getting involved. And then this will get mailed out to our members. So you just go to download, and it gives you 4 different options: PDF for print, JPEG, PNG, which is awesome, and it looks really good. And just to kind of go back to show you like what else we have done in here, like for our art exhibit, you know, we made this in there, and this is awesome for CBBs. So our community bulletin runs on, like, it runs an internal monitor in our station, and also one that looks out into the main square where we're in Somerville. So we get a lot of foot traffic, and we want people to see like what we're putting out, like, looks good. So I have an intern who literally just comes in 3 days a week, and I'm like, she's like, what am I gonna do today? I'm like, Canva. And she's like, oh, okay, I love Canva. And I'm like, cool. Like, I think it's becoming like a skill that you can actually put on your resume potentially, because you do have to have a good eye for like layout and positioning and like what works, what doesn't work, right? So there is room for criticism when people are working on this, but we have, like, you know, a great selection of now high quality images that we run on our CDB, and we can print if we want and hang them around town, right? So something else, like I said, we do, in terms of social media, we do what's called Free Speech Fridays. So the internet is being awful.
Yeah,
right
it's
now,
just the worst.
which is
Oh, you guys need
a very frustrating moment. Oh, John, do you have internet? So
Yes, he
in terms
does.
of like getting creative with social media, which I'm sure you guys are all doing, we have a consistent thing every Friday. We do hashtag Free Speech Fridays, and I totally stole this from Cambridge Community Television, which I was upfront about. I was like, I'm stealing this. And it's actually cool because now it's more aggregation of the same hashtag from multiple community media centers, which you all should be doing Free Speech Fridays. I will challenge you to do this, please. And just Google a cool quote, and I mean, use Canva, and you can then have a really nice, unique graphic that is like, you know, designed by yourself. This is now your own intellectual property in a way. But you can also do some stuff that's totally like unrelated, like here's some happy holiday designs. And then you just literally click in here, you know, from your friends at Scat TV, and then you can download it, and then you have like a unique graphic you can put on your CVB. The point is that you're not forced to constantly think creatively, and not that you aren't, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And that's kind of the beauty, right? Because I feel like we're all kind of tasked with like the many hat at your position in your organization. If you're not, then good for you. So this is just, you know, one resource. I don't want to be like the salesperson for it, but, you know, I mean, just one last thing.
Sign up before tonight.
But sign up before tonight, and you will get but this is free, right? So it's free. But like this graphic, they provided. Like they have this in their system, and then you can change the colors around if you want, just like that. And I mean, this was all, like, it's all customizable.
So how do they make money?
You know, I don't know, and I don't really care.
They don't sell you extra
No,
stuff?
not at all. So if you want, they are, because they are seeing the value, right? And I wish that video worked. I would actually, maybe I'll try it again. But they are creating new graphics, like hundreds every day, right? And people are utilizing Canva, I think, in the millions. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's really growing. And they are offering premium versions. So they are doing Canva for work. I don't really know what that looks like. Maybe more, they actually might do more like guidance stuff for like branding and stuff with your organization. But they really aren't out to like make a huge profit. And
Not until somebody buys them.
hopefully they don't, because resources like this are really hard to come by. And what I said, you know, even just try it out for like your CBB. If you have volunteers or interns, this is a really great way to like utilize them. And you know, you can do so much with it. I'm sure I'm not even doing it justice in terms of all that it offers.
Got a question.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, with the Canva, is there a way to upload like any of your own stock images, like you have a
Absolutely.
logo or
Yep.
your own content?
Yep. So when you are in, like once you go to File New or whatever, this is what it looks like. And right over here is where you can go to upload, and all of these are uploaded that we've done. So we did one for our interns. We did a Canva, a Canva document saying our Scat TV interns, and it makes them also feel appreciated, right? So we printed it out. It's on our wall, and so we uploaded all these files. And you can see sometimes there's like money associated, like there's like, it'll either say free, like when you're in layouts, like it says free right here. And some of them do cost money, like some of the designs. So this is awful, but I'll tell you, a roundabout way is you can design it and then take a screenshot of it. And then, because if you go to download it and if you use elements that were like, they're like $1 or like 50 cents. So you really are contributing to like a good, you know, kind of like Etsy in a way, right? But it's still really high quality if you want to do that. I'm not advocating for that because I know, you know, we're not a community of that. But, so yeah, you can upload your own stuff. So let me go back. How did I, what happened here? There we go. So yeah, that's just one resource here. And I really do encourage like you guys just to check it out and play around with it. It's really fun. It's kind of addicting. And other nonprofits, like this is a tool, this is a great workshop, right? Like learn this and like pay, like you can get nonprofits to probably sign up to learn how to use this because this is helping them with their messaging. And it's really empowering. So another resource that I'll go over is if this, then that. And this is pretty cool. So in terms of social media automation, they're a pretty cool company. So what it looks like is everything from, it's called a trigger, right? So if this, then that. So if a new picture is uploaded to Instagram, then that will go to my Dropbox folder. Like you basically assign it value, which is really, really cool. So let me show you like an example. So right now we have an automation where it's if a hashtag of Somerville news, then go to a Twitter hashtag folder. Like you can create these automations, which is nice because it's not just relying on that one, which is like Facebook to Twitter, you know what I mean, which everybody kind of uses. But you can set it up also so like if an Instagram picture, you can send it to your Facebook or send it to your Twitter. I always feel like more info to Twitter, the better, right? Because Twitter's like constant like information. Facebook, you want to be a little more strategic.
This is the glue between different pieces.
Yeah.
So you can build workflows.
Totally.
You can automate the workflows out of these different applications.
Yeah.
And this is the glue layer.
And you can even do it for personal stuff. Like if it's going to rain, send me a text message notification.
Send me an umbrella.
Right, send me an umbrella. If you can do it for like in terms of management, if you have a new Square receipt, send it to my Google Drive folder.
Yeah,
Like
I
it's
have one, if tagged in Facebook, add to my Dropbox.
right.
So that it all end up in a hub.
It's almost like programming your life instead of just your computer with Automator.
It's kind of nuts.
If anybody's ever messed around in Automator, it's like that, but for your phone, for anything.
Yeah, I mean it's really incredible, and I'll just run through like a few that other people have done. Speak notes to Evernote. Who uses Evernote? Evernote's really cool. Another free resource that's actually not on here, but you can download it as an app. And what happens is you log into it on your phone, and it's basically like a notes builder. Like if you have any notes, you can do handwritten notes. You can do like grocery lists. And you log into that same app on your desktop, and it's all talking to each other, so it's all synced up. It's nice. Evernote, yeah.
It's the black elephant on the green background.
Exactly.
That's their logo.
Yep.
Oh, he's coming this way. Never mind.
So that's that. I mean, I like Evernote. I use it a lot, but yeah, if save Facebook photos you are tagged into your phone, like similar to what Eric just said. When I leave home, show my to-do list. There's a battery saver one. Notify me when a paid app goes free. I mean, it's crazy. There was a funny one down here that I wanted to share. Email me a gif of Colin Farrell looking really disappointed if I ever take a selfie. But people like design these things that are ridiculous. Obviously, I've never used that one. But so you know, just another resource that people who are on this like creative program side are offering for free, which is pretty cool. I really have enjoyed IFT. Like when we upload a new YouTube video, I have it assigned so it goes to Twitter, and I have it assigned so it also goes to our Facebook, which is nice. And I do that for our news Facebook because I don't update that one as often with information as our organizational one. So it works for whatever you want to make it work as.
So that was on ifthis.that.com. What was the web?
Yeah, this one is IFTTT. Where is it? I think it says IFTTT.org. Yeah. Oh no, .com. They bought that domain because it got transferred.
What was that site, Digital Trends?
Oh, that was just like an article geeking out about how cool this is. So and this is the main interface. So again, check this one out. Great for personal and professional management. And then the last one, which I know that you said or someone's using.
I'm using that one, yeah.
Yeah. So Boomerang. Who's heard of Boomerang? Okay, so Boomerang is pretty neat. Who's tried to, like, you want to respond to an email, it's midnight, and you're like, maybe not professionally appropriate, but I got it all drafted, and I'm too busy in the morning to possibly remember to send this. Well, Boomerang does, it encourages you not to think. So it is basically your scheduler. So you can now schedule an email. It's a third-party plugin that you download to your Gmail, and then basically it kind of populates this different interface. I mean, it's the same Gmail interface. You'll see like when you hit send, it says send from Boomerang or schedule.
Should
and
we
then
show them one?
Yeah.
Download it to your Google account.
It basically becomes like integrated into.
I think it's a browser add-on though. I don't know that it goes into Gmail.
Okay.
It's Chrome or something.
So
It does work best with Chrome, but I think if you
does.
have it in your Gmail account, it'll.
Okay.
yeah.
It might
Hi,
be specific
my name's Matt,
to
and I'll be
Chrome.
showing you a quick tour of
Right.
Boomerang, a great new tool for Gmail that allows you to
We'll
schedule
find out right
I know you
now.
guys can't hear that well, but I just wanted you to see what it looks like.
As you can see, I only have the option to send the message immediately,
So this is pre,
but with Boomerang, there's an additional button that allows me to
and
send
that's
right
after.
When I use this button, I never have to log back in to hit send. I don't even need to have a network connection. Boomerang will automatically send the message at the time I choose.
It looks a little bit different because it's
The
older.
send later
Yeah.
menu provides a set of common send times.
And then that's
tomorrow
what is
morning,
kind of
or
presented.
or I
It's
can specify the
super
exact
cool.
date and time I want it to be
It's been really helpful just for like retention.
It's now late for
Because I think the
F3.
hardest
I
thing, at
want to
least
send
for
it
me,
or
in
email
like
to a coworker.
the membership position is great. We got 10 people who came to orientation, right? And I want to make sure that we're having that follow-up communication to like continue to tap into their interests, because that's like the prime time when they're energetic, right? I have just a template that I copy and paste into a subject. I put in their emails, and then I send it at a later date, and it works really well. And I don't know, just little efforts like that, it kind of helps you with being effective in your communications with member engagement and just for your own like time management.
Is that just an application for the web client, or is there client?
I believe I was just trying to open it on Safari. I think it is. You need Chrome to do it.
And so there's no like email client like you're using Outlook or.
That's worth testing out too. I'm not sure. For some reason, I just have the worst trouble with Outlook. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just
No,
work out of a
I'm
browser
using
better.
Gmail.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'd have the answer for you.
And
I
this
don't.
is strictly for Gmail, but we have our like @SCAT TV Somerville email linked up. We use Google for nonprofits, And that's another thing, right? Like if you can tap into that, it's free. You get 50 gigabytes worth of storage or 30 gigabytes, and you can always up it if you want. It's great for so many things. So this is really, it just works well with Gmail. So I'm not sure to answer your question, Robert.
You answered, no, that was just different.
No, it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, like if you're usually using Outlook and like you want to schedule an email, you can. You just have to open Chrome. It's like, has anyone used Video Download Helper on Firefox? Yeah, like it'll download anything. Like there's some videos that YouTube will be like, you know, if you want to use this for whatever reason, you can't download it, but Video Download Helper will download anything. It's like, I don't want to open Firefox, but it'll let you do it anyways. So yeah.
That's my quick, excited vomiting of these wonderful resources that I hope you will find of use. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and then we'll toss it over to
Cool.
Mr. Peter.
Oh wow, this is unique on this
Oh
thing.
yeah, here, hit. Why are you so dark?
I was saving battery.
Oh.
Oh.
Go hover up here.
Just hover up here. Is it this button?
Escape button also does it.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Ish.
And then
Okay, I'm just gonna guess that that's because it detects a display and PowerPoint is
Oh, yeah,
weird.
there you
That
go.
must be it.
It's
Okay,
fine, though.
so I had the most original name in the world for this. She likes to call it ADD. I just want to call this what this is. Just kidding. So let's get right into it. Who is familiar with Celtx? Couple people. Nobody? Okay, I'm excited about this too. So I'm actually going to sneak out of this because I want to show you guys what Celtx is. I hate PowerPoints because I think it distracts me from keeping your attention with things like my really Italian hands, but
I'll do the hand.
I think I need it to keep myself on track so I don't talk forever. So this is Celtx. Let me, well, once you log in, what's nice about Celtx is it's totally free. You have the option to pay for pro and premium accounts, which basically allow you to have like more people using one account, more people that have access to share that account. They call them studio members. What it does is this is great for pre-production. I'm using it for all of my youth clubs right now because if they have an idea and they want to share it, they can add it into, well, this is just my Celtx, but they can add it into our studio's Celtx account, and it allows you to do script writing. It allows, if you have a Plus account, let's say we make a new project right now. We're going to call this project Puppies because everybody loves puppies. And we're going to categorize it under, let's just keep it simple, film and TV, create. And what's nice is you can customize like a little picture for it and stuff. You can put a little picture, like I put PG because I'm like really cheesy and stuff when I was messing around with After Effects as my studio symbol, just to make it look a little more like you. But it's pretty plain for the most part. If you upgrade, because this is just my account, it's a student account which is free. You don't need to have a student email or anything. They just call them student accounts to make them the free account, which means you can do a limited amount of stuff, but it still allows you to have cloud-based sharing and script writing. So anywhere you go, see, I'm the opposite of John in this respect. He's doing everything you can do without the internet. I'm doing the stuff you need the internet for. So you can, if you do pay for more, they allow you to do budgets, shot lists, breakdown, storyboards. Their storyboards are really awesome. But I have something for that is free if you don't want to pay for the premium accounts. So let's just go into a script. We're going to write a script about puppies. It's super, super easy. Has anyone worked with Final Draft?
I have.
A couple of us? You have? Yep. All right. So Final Draft is like, quote unquote, the industry standard for computer-based script writing software. Celtx has kind of been its competitor for a little bit, and its cloud wasn't really there until about a year or two ago when they did a big revamp. Everyone kind of just downloaded their freeware, which honestly did the same thing, but it just looked ugly. And you could, save them like Word documents instead. I like it this way. It looks a little bit cleaner. You've got a nice workspace. I customize the background to be black, so it's a little nicer on the eyes. I don't know why I can't do it with the whole space yet, just where we're writing. But is anybody a fan of keyboard shortcuts?
Yep.
Cool, you'll love this. You'll also like the automation. You're pretty much switching between, if you look over here, scene heading, action, character, and dialogue. So whenever you guys are preparing a script for whatever you're doing, you want to give it to your cast and crew members, this just makes that process a lot faster, a lot easier. You know, if people are using Word documents or whatnot, because they're like, all right, we got the Adobe suite at the Access Center. Do we really need a script writing thing? Not really, because we don't think our members are going to necessarily use it. But sometimes I think it's nice to have something that's very clearly script and everyone is on the same page with it. So let's just do a fake thing. Interior ACM meeting today. Well, daytime. Now notice after I hit enter to go to the next line, it didn't create another scene heading. It automatically assumed that I wanted to do an action, write something. So yeah, I'll write something. Stuff is happening, right? Stuff's happening? I was expecting a big...
No.
Okay, so then I hit enter. It prompts for more action, or I can switch it by going over here, the slow way, using a mouse, or I can do as labeled here, the keyboard shortcuts, which I love because it makes it faster. Hit Command 3, now we have a character. It's going to be Erica. Now what happened after I put in a character is it automates to dialogue. So it makes it go really fast. You can just fly through this thing, boom, 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 done. So I'm just going to do this kind of fast.
And you're doing this with like youth and stuff as part of like the program as well, right?
I am, yeah. And they pick up on it really fast. They're used to typing programs and stuff. It's just a new one for them. And they like it because I say, if you guys have an idea at home, you know, I can't give them homework or anything, but sometimes it helps, since I only have an hour with each group each week, for me to say, when we're trying to think of ideas, because they kind of lead the program and I guide them along. If you guys have ideas, put them down somewhere so we can talk about them and do them when you guys come in next week. This is great for that. They actually get excited about it and will do it, because anything like this to them is pretty cool. Oh my God, totes. Oops, that's still my character name. Yeah, totally. I don't really talk like this. This is just me being silly. And notice after I did some dialogue, it jumps to another character for me. And it starts to remember the characters, if you notice in the drop down, once you start typing. Erica's really excited in this script, in case anybody can tell. It's kind of small on that screen, but so far, that's what we got.
Who would use something like this?
Would this be helpful for you guys?
So we also want to like tailor this conversation to people who
Yeah.
are into this. So if
Definitely.
You're like, you know, it's good. We don't want you to be here for
Yeah.
the wrong reasons.
Keyboard shortcut, new scene. I'm not going to name it yet. Other stuff happening. A person says something. Another person. Yeah, so you can just fly through it. It's not like you have to do the big indents on Microsoft Word. You don't have to decide, oh, I'm going to bold all the characters. It's just boom. I love it. I wrote this the other day, just messing around. I call it, it's completely silent, so you don't see all the characters and stuff, but it still allowed me to break it down, and I just had a page script about two people who are in a car. The entire thing is just happening while James Brown's song, Get Up Off of That Thing, is going. You don't hear anything else. All their screams are silent, as like a hobo thinks they're talking to him because they have their windows rolled down too low, and he like pulls out a gun on them, and they go to get up off of that thing, and they floor it, and then a cop comes after them, and credits just continue to play the James Brown song. So
A glimpse into Peter's mind.
A glimpse into my mind and why this is fun, because anytime I have any kind of stupid idea, just it's not a hassle, or like I have to write it down in a note card and then be like, what was I thinking about? Just boom, the whole script is right there really fast. I mean, if it's a long script, not really, but a lot of the time I'll just use it to write outlines, because then all my ideas are in one place and it's nice in that way. So yeah, that is Celtx. Storyboard that complements it really well. Let me see, where did I hide it? Over here. Did I storyboard that? There we go. So if you don't want to pay for Celtx Premium, I mean, I don't. I just don't need it. All I need is the script writing. Sometimes if you have a big team that all wants to have access to sharing, because I think it lets you share with up to 5 members at a time, then you might be like, okay, yeah, we actually have a lot of people that are trying to share all their content as a team, and we all use that instead of just casual sharing. Let's pay for the premium, because the rates aren't horrible on Celtx. I think if you upgrade once, it's $10 a month and then $25 a month. So Storyboard, that is just about the same thing. It is, unfortunately, also has the whole accounts thing, but there is a free version too, where you can just make simple storyboards, as you can see. So if you were to start creating a storyboard, I think this one's kind of self-explanatory, so I don't want to waste too much time on this one. Is this something that people would think is pretty cool too? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I've mostly just used Celtex's storyboards in the past before they made them, that you had to pay for them. They used to have some things that you didn't. But it's nice because if you hate drawing, you can throw in your scenes,
That's awesome.
your backgrounds. From then, and they have all these categories, homework, transportation, then jump to characters, teens, kids, jobs, find these people, throw them in. Let's throw in this kid, and I don't know what that background is,
So
but
that's cool.
let's,
So it's kinda like Canva and like the
it's
modified.
Canva for storyboards. Yeah, so let's move on from that one. It does remind me though, there's one more thing you can do. Let's go to puppies really quick again. Let me see. They hid where this was, but there's a way in Celtx, I haven't done it in a really long time, I just was reminded of it, that you can actually, you can do it just within the script. You can add, that's not what it is. Well, I don't want to waste time on it, because I had completely forgotten about it until just now, but you can actually do like a blocking. So it's not a storyboard, but it's like you can do an overview and be like, a camera will be here, camera will be here. You can drag like lights where they will be, characters where they will be, the set, and that's nice to have just so, you know, it's not necessarily a storyboard, but along with the script, the layout. Thank you for helping me with that. So there we go. Back to this. All right, so those are my pre-production tools that are free and a lot of fun, really helpful. Who would like pre-editing software or to play around with or whatever? Is that something that would interest people? Should I talk about that at all? Is anyone familiar with Davinci Resolve and RenderMan? Left or?
10.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's easy. I got that. Okay. All right, so I'm actually going to go ahead and open one of these. Has anyone, show of hands, who has used Davinci Resolve?
I tested it for like a week.
Tested it for like a week? Yeah, I did the same. Because I do actually like, what do you think?
Didn't like it too much. I didn't really have too much time to really work on it. I just kind of had a free trial.
Yeah.
With it. But, it has the same platform.
Yeah.
As well, they're not letting out their software.
Yeah.
But it's free.
It's the reason we're bringing it up is literally just the it's free reason. Usually disadvantage, you need a computer with a pretty decent graphics card because it's black magic and they want you to, if you don't have one, buy theirs. If you've got Mac stuff, usually it can handle it. So Davinci Resolve's nice because it kind of breaks things down into grabbing your media, editing it, color correcting it, and then exporting it, compressing it on one page. So it's kind of like it breaks up the process for you. So depending on what you're doing, if you're when I'm in Premiere, I like to, if I'm bringing in media or I'm sorting through it to cut, I make the project window huge, and I just start importing and organizing it into bins and everything. And you know, every time I rearrange the windows so I have as much space as possible dedicated to what I'm working on. This kind of assumes or suggests do it in this order and makes the windows like that for you. And it's not like you can't modify that. You can change it around a little bit, but not too much. It's not like Premiere where you can drag the windows around and stuff like that. But it's free and it automatically breaks things up in that order for you. It has a huge emphasis on color correcting though, since it has an entire window there for it. So if you really like color correcting, it's pretty good for that. Granted, I usually just worked with like Final Cut and Adobe Color, so I had to look up a few color correction tutorials to have a better idea of what I was doing with gamma and lift and all that stuff. But aside from that, hooray, free editing software. I like it in that regard. All you have to do is go to their website and hit download. They also have, I have not played around with it yet, but let me find it here. Editing, there we go. Fusion, which is basically their After Effects. I haven't really tried it. Has anyone tried Fusion yet? No? I'll bring it up so we can see the layout really quick. Also free, again. They emphasize nodes. If anybody's familiar working with After Effects or old color software from Apple, that's, you know, I took one look at this and I was just like, I'll learn this later, or if I ever need to, because I have After Effects. But it's nice because it's free. They took a long time developing it. Is there anything else on this one? No. Okay. RenderMan. Who's familiar with RenderMan?
RenderMan?
Mm-hmm. Anybody know what it is?
No.
You haven't heard of it? Who's heard of Pixar? RenderMan is what Pixar has used since their beginning. I'm going to go to their website right now. I don't have it on my computer, but we're using it at BA-TV. RenderMan. Let's do this.
Wasn't that the thing that they tried to get to work on next? Steve Jobs got into Pixar
Yep.
before the RenderMan
He got
software.
into it for that. And what was great is, I mean, awesome movies have come out of it, and no one can really compete with them, but their software's kind of stayed on top, and they just made it available to the public. Now, it's tricky because most people have to pay for it, but guess what is so awesome for all of us? There is a non-commercial version, which is pretty much the same thing. It's just, you just have to register and say, yeah, our company's non-commercial, and we want RenderMan. Where's it hiding on there? They changed their website on me again. Get RenderMan. There we go. Where's the list? So yeah, normally it costs money, but here's the free non-commercial version. If you want to download and install it, they require you to be part of the forums, which is kind of nice because it encourages you to be part of the community that figures out RenderMan, and considering that it's a beast, because it's animation and it's Pixar, that's probably helpful. It's good to be encouraged. Don't just download it and try and learn it on your own and get lost in it. It encourages you by registering to be a part of the community, read the forums, learn some good practices, and that sort of stuff.
Is RenderMan? What exactly is RenderMan? Is it like
Animation
Animation
software. It's animation software. The students I'm working with right now are building up to it. I'm having them take baby steps. So we downloaded Steam, and right now they're using a game called Garry's Mods, which is really kind of just a silly fighting game, but it does allow for you to bring a camera into that world, different characters, and tell them what to do and record it. So we're using that as a intro to animation concepts, because these are like 11 and 12-year-olds. Then we're gonna get Source Filmmaker, which is tricky right now because all of our stuff is Mac, but some of these games that are great for teaching them animation, Source Filmmaker is directly just an animation software within Steam, which is an app that allows kids to download and play games.
Is that free too?
Steam is free. The content on it, some of it is free, but not all of it. I'm citing 2 examples that are very specific to what we're doing at BA-TV right now. The Garry's Mods game is, you know, the last thing you would guess looking at it is that it has a learning opportunity within it. But because it has the cameras and you can kind of move characters around like The Sims if you want, instead of just having them fight each other, kids can learn animation because they record what the characters are doing after they tell them to do it. Source Filmmaker is much more direct. It isn't intended to be like a fighting game or something like that. It's actually supposed to teach filmmaking through very basic animation stuff just because it's on the computer. So that's what we're going to do next, and after they've got those concepts down, some basic keyframing in Adobe Premiere, which we've already covered, I'm going to move them on to RenderMan. And it's great because it buys me time to learn RenderMan too. But they definitely needed the baby steps.
Does Source Filmmaker
It's in Steam as well.
Oh, it's in Steam, so it's
Yep.
automatically free.
Yeah. The game I'm teaching them on right now, which is the most specific to their age and me weaning them into animation, Garry's mods, that's $10 once you have Steam. Source Filmmaker is free. I'm just trying to troubleshoot how to get it on our computers without mucking up our processes and stuff, because it requires a Windows operating system.
Oh, and you use Mac.
We use Mac. On our staff computers, we have VMware Fusion that allows us to, you know,
One PC.
yeah, we can run PC on it because our scheduling program, Facile, is,
Somebody else uses Facile.
yeah, it's terrible.
Has sales allowed to pick up the $5 Gary's Mod sometimes if you're wary.
Oh yeah, yeah. Watch Steam for sales, definitely. But usually Steam doesn't have as much of the animation stuff. It's very specific to this instance. So that's free editing software. Moving on from that. I also had some graphic resources. This is me coming back to. I only have a little time because I don't want to cut you guys off. So. Who's interested in going over more graphic resources? I think we kind of covered a decent chunk of that with Erica. I've got some different ones, or other places to distribute your content.
That's good.
This one?
You should do the no film school too.
Okay, all right. Who's heard of Film Freeway? Okay, I'm guessing that's nobody. Okay. I gotta institute a shake heads rule, like in the future. Awesome, we gotta shake heads. Okay, blank stares. All right. Does anybody in their production houses, or whatever we want to call them, produce a lot of films, submit them for contests or such? Submit any content? A couple? I'll mention this for you, and then I'll move on. Film Freeway, good website to look at because it allows you to search for, find, and submit to all festivals throughout the United States very easily. Definitely awesome. Film Freeway. And not all submissions are free. A lot of them are, some of them aren't. Either way, the website's use is free. It'll send you updates and stuff like that if you want it to. You can even subscribe to certain festivals so that it sends you updates on their submission times. It's very nice. Screencrafters, also, since we talked about Celtx and a lot of people seemed interested in that, I feel like mentioning it. It's basically a blog website for script writing. It's one of the better ones that I've found, and what's really nice is they offer consulting, and they constantly are offering scholarships and that kind of stuff. If you submit scripts, so if for youth programs, it's nice. I like to encourage the kids, hey, submit scripts to these guys. You know, if you win, you might get a chance to fly out to LA and get a backstage pass to some premiere or something. That's basically what they do for their website. It's all about contests with awesome rewards and opportunities. So that's nice for any members that are interested, or just your own personal interest. Really good place to go to find a lot of this stuff out. No Film School. I'm guessing do people check No Film School? You know it? Yeah, I check it every day. It's become a habit, but it helps me kind of keep up on what's
It's a
constantly
website
changing.
That has a lot of really great like filmmaking tips and just like how-tos. There's a lot of like video tutorials.
Yep. This is it right here.
They're really good.
Yeah.
It's like professional development, except with pleasure.
Yeah. So you get a lot of cool ideas or helpful new tricks from it. And it'll notify you when new free stuff like Davinci comes out and stuff like that. This is nofilmschool.com. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't want to take up any more time.
But these resources will be made available on the ACM Northeast website within the next
Yeah.
couple weeks. So just
We'll upload this stuff
We'll
so you
direct
guys
people there.
can, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Yep.
Peter.
I'm going to go in a little bit different direction, all of their things. The things that help me during my day. I come from a station that basically, even though I have a couple of part-timers, they basically tape meetings. So it's basically two of us who are doing everything. And mind you, that's 40 hours a week for me, but I also do a 15-hour-a-week job at the high school where I tape their meetings for their, we have a building committee because we have a brand new high school, and the school committee meetings, and try to do stuff with the students there. So I have to find ways to do shortcuts and do things and make sure that I can get everything done with just the two of us. So temporary, to me, temporary archiving of the things that I do, especially in the school, is what's gonna help me. So let's go to the next page. Let's start first with what I do for the station. I'm the station operations manager, and we have things that happen certain times of the year, whether it be, the Memorial Day Parade, the Spirit of Somerset, the Public Safety Day, even things like when somebody's having you get them into your station to put on your bulletin board of who's doing a blood drive and whatever, all of that stuff. I am trying to save myself time, and you have to think about the person that's watching it, that if they see something as a bulletin board message, and they're used to seeing that thing for blood drive, they're used to seeing the big cross and seeing the information of who's holding the blood drive, I just change the information within the actual graphic that I put up. And right now we're actually using electronics for our playback system, so I use their little system and open up the previous one, change the information, and when it's done playing, it lets it tell you it'll stop playing and puts it into a hold pattern. When the next person comes up, I open up that same one, just change all the information and start it playing. As for regular video promos, when we tape the Spirit of Somerset, when we tape something that's constantly happening every year, I know that if I want to do a promo for that next year, I'm not going to be in a mood to do it a month before and go, oh my God, I got to go through all that fake footage to figure out what am I going to put in this. Instead, it takes me shorter time to continue what I'm doing. I've now edited the regular show and go, you know what? As I'm going along, if I see something I like, I actually put it into another timeline on my Final Cut Pro, and I save all that footage. And even if I just export that one full movie, I have that to go to, and I actually will create it when I'm done finishing my regular project. Go, you know what? Time for next year's promo. Do the promo, get it done. I date it, put it in a folder called now 2016, and when August comes up for September Spirit of Somerset, I already got it done. I'm just uploading. Sometimes I even actually upload it and date those things in my playback system, 2016, SOS, and then I just have to make it active that day. It's easier, you guys know, you are not in the mood. Once you're done with that project, you don't want to see that footage ever again. You don't want that stuff. Do it while you're then. Even, if you leave a project at lunch and you come back and you go, oh my God, I got to get back into this, which is why we end up, most of us, eating through lunch and getting a project done and then eating lunch at 5 p.m. So, but definitely, that's the easier way to do it. You think it'll take you longer then, but you're actually in a groove and you can actually get it done faster than you can 12 months from then. So the next one would be what I do for the high school. So because one of the big things we do for the high school is the graduation DVD, I, maybe to my own detriment, decided to have something called DVD extras for the students. So other things that get covered throughout their high school years. So it became a bear for me going, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I gotta save all this footage. As I'm going through, like this year's, let's take the example, they've already done the Music Town Festival. So I've taken the footage, and if somebody had, if I zoomed in or somebody zoomed in on someone and they play whatever instrument, a lot of the times I'll know that student or they've mentioned them and they say what grade they're in. Immediately, my brain is so quick now as to knowing what year they're graduating. I find the year of graduation in my computer. You see the folders like I've got there. I find that graduation folder, 2016, and put it in the 2016 folder or 2015 folder, because their year actually starts in 15 and then ends in 16. So I put it in that folder and put them in the separate information underneath. So, this is the Case Rally from 2015. This is the concerts from 2015. This is the sports. And I saved only those little pieces of footage. We play the whole concert on our station, but I pull those little tiny pieces out, and actually, because I'm in the mood and in the groove, I don't cut and go, oh, let me just go from here to here. No, I actually go, I'm only using here to here. This way, when I go to do that DVD extra, I can grab those things and just throw them in and know that they're ready for maybe just a crossfade, whatever, or a dip to black. Those are easier for me to put through and know what year they came from. I've even expanded to, I let students text or email me from the class or put them in my folder of stuff that they may have themselves. I try to put it out as early as I can. I let them know when they're freshmen. and then I'm talking to them again when they're seniors, and say, if you have footage, or if you have photos, or if you have this from when you were in elementary school or middle school, and you want them to possibly be part of the graduation DVD, send them to me now. But just let me know what year you graduated, because those I don't lump in by year, I lump those into elementary and middle school. So those are at least easier, and I know when they graduated. I want to put as much as I can in those, because I feel bad that I don't have any of that stuff. I graduated in 1983. The cable company started in 82. I don't even know where our graduation wouldn't be DVD, it'd be a VHS tape. No, it'd be a 3/4 inch tape, probably at that point. I don't even know where that is. And I do know that the cable company was there taping. I just have no idea whatever happened to that. So that's the sad part. Those kids are gonna get much more because I've taken the time to do this, and I've made it so organized that I let others do it at that time, knowing what year they graduated. As I'm doing footage for the case rally, all 4 years perform, but I separate them by this one graduates in 2018, this one graduates in 2019, even though it's only 2014 or 2015 at the time. It takes a lot then, but I'm so happy when I go to create that DVD extra, and so is everybody else who's helping. They go, where's that footage? And it's already organized. And that may be anal to some people, but I'm gonna tell you, it will actually save you time, because if you're in the middle of editing a project, you want to do it then, like I said, because you don't want to go back, 4 years from now and look at freshman footage to find some kid who had the funniest skit during the case rally. Instead, pull it out then, put it in that little timeline, and make a movie of it and save it that way. When I'm done, like I started this in 2007, so once those kids graduated, so 2007 would have graduated when? 2011, okay? Or 2012, whatever it is, depending on that beginning of the year. I no longer have any of that stuff. I have to get rid of it. Unfortunately, the school doesn't give me anything, even though I work for them. They have, I save everything on my own home computer, on my own hard drives, myself. And once those years go away, I figure I've made the DVD extras of everything that I felt was super important, and that's what you've got for saving. If the school wants to come at some point and go and buy me a nice RAID, you know what I mean, that they want to save this stuff in, that's fine. But I don't have that kind of storage. I'm missing out on family storage because I'm saving school stuff. So that's what helps me. I can then delete those old things and continue with the new. So most of the time I usually have 4 years of stuff from all of these kids, and then you keep it in your mind. A lot of them you start to recognize people back and forth and know what year they graduated. You wondered how teachers did it. It actually gets familiar when you see the same faces all the time. So that's, to me, nesting folders is my favorite thing. That's the easiest way to find stuff, especially if you already know how it's organized. And by year is perfect, even for anything. I do my email the same way. I do it by month, because it's easier to look for it. I know, I came in a couple months ago. Oh, I can do a search, and the same thing with this. Sometimes I've gone to key wording things to find them faster, but Apple's pretty good. If it's got the word in it, I usually mark it with the word that's going to make sense. Case rally, so many things come up, and then just do them by date. It's the best thing I've ever done. So I mean, that's just basically me and time-saving stuff that we have to do at our station, because I have no other way to do it, and not the amount of people that I would like to have. So I'm going to move on to the Archive King.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
Okay.
Let's give
You
you
have the
this.
dongle?
Yeah.
Great.
They
That's
brought
what I was
one
just
in,
go running
which
to
is
find out for you.
Whoever was
They
responsible for that,
responded,
thank
yeah.
you.
I know.
Okay.
There it is.
I am known as the archive guy, and so if you type into a search engine, Community Media Archive Wiki, those 4 words, you may not care about archiving, but this text of the items that I'm going to talk about is, that's where it is. So I'm going to talk about some things we find useful at Access Humboldt. The first thing is the Raspberry Pi over here, and this is, it's a single board computer with a 64 gig memory card in it, wireless antenna. It's its own access point. So you can go to the ESSID RPI, and then you would put in a URL of 10.10.10. And I'll show you what that looks like. So on that device, this is a distribution called Rachel, which stands for Remote Access to Community Hotspots for Education and Learning. In there, they've got Wikipedia for Schools, which is an offline version of Wikipedia that's safe for schools, done by the British, so it's a little British-centric, but again, it's better than not having that information. It's got a version of Khan Academy Lite on there, so you can wind up launching. How many people are familiar with the Khan Academy? Okay, the Khan Academy is a website that has resources, short videos for learning. They break up topics into maybe 15-minute videos or maybe 6-minute videos. And the key is that when a student is learning, if a student falls behind, it's because they don't get a concept. But the class of 30 has to keep going on. The kids they start feeling like they can't do math or they can't do science. It's only one thing that they're hung up on. And so by breaking up topics into these short videos, the kids can wind up kind of going back and watching the video, and then there are associated exercises. The teacher has a dashboard that can monitor what the students are doing in terms of the exercises in the video. So the teacher knows where each student is, and the teacher winds up spending the time with the student on the sections that they're having problems with. And so what happens, instead of somebody kind of dropping out and saying, I'm no good at math, I'm no good at science, what happens is they wind up nailing that one thing they were having problems with, and often you see an acceleration of their interest and their learning after that point. So that's Khan Academy. And again, we're not using internet here. We're actually loading this off of the Raspberry Pi, off of the memory card, and it takes a while for this to populate. Let's go ahead to, okay. So here we've got math, science, economics and finance, arts and humanities, computing, test prep, and partner content. Those are the areas. And in science, you've got biology, physics, chemistry, organic chemistry, cosmology and astronomy, health and medicine, and discoveries. I should mention Khan Academy starts out at kind of second grade, goes all the way through high school, and then there are actually college courses in there as well. So if you know kids who are either in high school or college and you say, hey, have you taken a look at Khan Academy? It's not just for elementary school. Elementary school is involved there. They've converted their content to Common Core. Anyway, that's the whole, if you don't know about it, it's useful not only for students, but for relatives that are having problems. They've got an offline version of Medline Plus, a medical encyclopedia. They've got Hesperian health guides, which are when there's no doctor, and that's a handbook to village healthcare. They've got another set of videos on Khan Academy Health and Medicine, Practical Action. They tie into Project Gutenberg, so here are 400 of the most beloved and respected books from around the world. So as long as they're out of copyright, they're here on this distribution. You've got an open K through 12 textbook effort called CK12. Here are open source textbooks. The One Laptop Per Child initiative, they had a bunch of content created for them. That's available through this. Again, all of this, you're not going out to the internet, you're serving it off of the Raspberry Pi. So
can you explain the Raspberry Pi just a little bit
It's a credit card sized single board computer. And a lot of people associate it with maker spaces. It's useful in other applications. And maker spaces, there's soldering and there's using a computer to control sensors in the real world, the physical world. But I find it's more useful kind of to get people involved is to show them something like this and say, look, here's something where you don't have to bust out a soldering iron. You're not necessarily controlling the real world. You're using it for information distribution. And what that does is that kind of builds capability. They get used to using one of these things, And then they can branch out and buy sensors and start hooking up wires and going into some of the more interesting uses. So this is Rachel, and that's something that you can get the URLs here, and there's a little blurb about it. There's the Khan Academy URL. The Khan Academy Light Effort is what's on that device. The Khan Academy Light Effort says online learning is great, but 65% of the world doesn't have access to fast internet. So how about let's take those resources that are on that website and move them into a situation where they can be used offline. One of the other items that I have, this guy here is a travel router that's been flashed with the Library Box firmware. And so what Library Box does is it allows you to take a set of collections and, again, distribute them in places where you might not have internet. So the things like the Rachel, which runs on a Raspberry Pi, and some devices that I use, which are called Odroids. They're the same type of thing. They're a small credit card-sized computer. It turns out there are free resources for those, and so I put those resources here. The Raspberry Pi Foundation website. They put out a monthly magazine, 100 pages or so of projects, and so this is something in terms of if you're working with kids in a makerspace or in a youth media program, there's a camera that for $25, there's a camera that attaches to the Raspberry Pi. Oh, by the way, the Raspberry Pi computer costs $35. It's got an Ethernet jack on it. It's got an HDMI output on it, and it can play HD quality video. And when we first saw these things at Linux shows in 2012, we were blown away by the quality of the playout, and we're going, how can they do that for $35? There was so much demand for these things that it took you 9 months from the time you placed your order to get one of them. And now they've ramped up production. There's over 5 million of them in use today. So it's something that schools are using them for classroom because it's a way they don't have to wind up wiping a Windows machine every night and bringing it back to a same starting point. Each student can have their own Raspberry Pi instead of sharing a computer. Yes?
What's the difference between Raspberry Pi and Arduino?
The Arduino is a microprocessor, and so it's very limited. It has very little RAM. You can't think of it as a computer. It hooks up to sensors. A Raspberry Pi is a microcomputer, and so it's got a full operating system on it. I run the same operating system on my Raspberry Pi as Access Humboldt runs on its 16 terabyte storage server.
Wow.
It's a version of Linux. I don't have to learn a whole new language, a whole new operating system. That 20 years of knowledge I have of working with Linux winds up coming down and translating to the Raspberry Pi. Yeah.
Just wanted to suggest, where do you recommend people look for the Raspberry Pis? Like in turn, they're $35, but like, would you just get them off of Amazon, or is there a good place?
Yeah, to start with Amazon, there are some resellers on Amazon that bundle them with a kit, because for $35, all you get is this circuit board. And so now you need a power supply to hook it up. You'll notice that thing's running off of a battery. That's the great thing about being powered by a micro USB port at 5 volts. Hey, that's the same thing that phones use. So a $10 or $15 battery pack, the white thing underneath it is the battery pack. But you need a power supply for it. You need the Raspberry Pi. You need a case for it. You might need a wireless card for it. You need an SD card for the operating system. So all those things together, you can buy those in kits from vendors on Amazon, or you can go to other websites. MCM Electronics is a place in Ohio that I was doing the Central States Conference, and I said something about wait for the shipping because they run specials on $6 shippings on some weekend. And the guy sitting next to me on the panel said, "Oh, I just pick it up at Will Call. They're 6 miles away from our access center." So anyway, MCM Electronics or Amazon are places that you would go buy it. I mentioned the Free Raspberry Pi magazine. They've had maybe 36, 37 issues out at this point. They come out monthly. The Odroid community, it's similar to the Raspberry Pi. They produce a free magazine. And again, each magazine has projects that people have done with the Raspberry Pi, directions to follow along to do these projects. And they're not things that you need to be a computer geek to do. They're things that you can do with kids. And so they wind up building capability. They wind up, again, interacting with the physical world. And it was originally, it was conceived by the guy who's the Dean of Admissions for the Oxford Computer Science program, found out that the entering students didn't know how computers work. And so they had to take 13 weeks out of their 3-year curriculum to teach the computer science graduate students how computers work. So this idea of building this small single board computer was to try and get back to the 80s when people had to put their computers together, but they wanted to do it in a better way than in the past. So this is pushed down into the schools in the UK, so that by the time they get through high school, by the time they get through college, they wind up knowing about computers in a way that they don't, they're not just app users anymore, that they actually know something about programming because they've done projects with the Raspberry Pi. So that's kind of a forward thinking, somebody at the graduate school level devises this thing, pushes it down into the school, the thing takes off because hackers, tinkerers, makers wind up picking up on it. Anyway, yeah, so there are forums and discussion groups on here. And let's see what else I want to talk about. That's probably it. Let me just show you back on the Community Media Archive wiki where this guy lives. Oh, of course, I'm on the Raspberry Pi access point, so I have to get back to.
Have you ever partnered up with local schools, John, to teach some of this stuff, or?
We're actually we're actually winding up involved in getting a makerspace set up in Humboldt, and so even though we're based, but we've done this Rachel thing in Eureka City schools before. We've done Khan Academy Lite and Khan Academy offline in the Eureka City schools, but we haven't gotten to the point that we're ready to do this in the schools, because it would be a pretty that would be what you would be doing for either half-time or full-time. That would pretty much be it. Yep. So this is the Community Media Archive wiki page that I told you about, and then if you come down here and you click on the ACM 2015 Northeast Region Conference, we're down here, and here's the text file I was talking about, the Innovative Tips, Designs, and Tools session demo.
Cool.
John, one of the things folks might want to understand is how schools are using Khan Academy. There's this whole new theory of how you structure learning, and it's referred to as the flipped classroom, where the kids are assigned to watch Khan Academy videos at home, and then they do their homework in the classroom with the teacher's assistant. So there's a lot of this technology that is being applied to how does the learning process absorb all of this technology and come up with new ways for kids to be able to take it all in? Because it really being asked
And
to learn so much with all these STEM and STEAM programs and all the stuff that's going on. This stuff was shoved down our throat when I was in school. It was like,
Well, and there's resistance from the teacher side and from parent side saying, hey, look, you're taking teachers out of the classroom. And that's the attitude going into it. And when they wind up seeing that they can wind up giving the individual instruction in the places that the person's having the problems with because of the answers on the exercise, they can look at the dashboard and they can see people are working, they're not all working on the same exercise or the same video. They're progressing at their own rate, and it's only when they have a problem that the teacher winds up walking around spending time with them. So it really is a different model of working in the classroom, and it's been, I think, 3 years now since they ran their first pilot programs in the classroom. And as more teachers get more experience with this, their attitude is much different than it was on the front end, because it's not replacing teachers, it's making the time more valuable because you're actually back to the one-on-one helping the students instead of this teaching 30 kids the same thing at the same rate.
And teaching to the test, which of course is
Right.
the anathema that everybody's
Right.
dealing with.
Yep, and the Khan Academy has a huge number, they have a test prep section. It's not just talking about things like Common Core or standardized testing for elementary school. They've got GRE and the medical admissions, graduate medical admissions thing in there. So this idea is something that's been seen to work across multiple ages. Again, we're talking elementary school through graduate school. Stanford Medical School is the partner that does the medical stuff. The guy, Sal Khan, he doesn't do any of the medical stuff. It's people from the Stanford School of Medicine that do that.
Well, I think in the past, a lot of access centers had looked for tutorials that the members could either watch at the center
That's what I do.
or at home, so that when they come in, because this whole thing about, do you teach a whole bunch of people? And I think, Erica, you're kind of grappling with this issue of people aren't signing up for classes in bunches, but how do we come up with one-on-one training? But you need to, before you get into the one-on-one training, you need to figure out what resources can we provide to somebody who's learning to be able to at least start experiencing it, so that they're learning the language, they're learning where, what buttons need to be pushed, what,
Right.
The last thing I want to talk about is this device, which is a Karma Go. And so it's the same as, people have seen these devices before. It's cellular service out to Wi-Fi. Verizon makes one called the Jetpack. The earlier version was called the MiFi. The difference about Karma is that sharing is built in. The data doesn't expire. So you buy data by the gigabyte, and it doesn't matter. So for somebody that goes out and does presentations at conferences, it's perfect, because you wind up throwing it in the drawer and you don't have to worry about the fact that, oh, it's 31 days since I last topped up, I have to go buy another block of data. It doesn't get used. The other thing is that sharing is built in. The ESS ID, you can change it. I've got it set to free Wi-Fi by Karma. So you log in with your email, the person that logs into it gets 100 megabytes of access free. I wind up getting 100 megabytes of data added back to my account for each person that winds up using this. So they did an analysis, and a Verizon Jetpack for 2 years. They figured out that it would cost you like between $2,400 and $2,700 for about 3 gigs a month for 2 years. This thing was around $500. So if they've now introduced a thing where you pay $50 a month, and you've got the data, it's LTE based, and the data upload and download is capped at 5 megabits a second, but it's all you want for, I can't remember if it's 3 devices or 5 devices that you can attach. So that's a new model. So this is something that was a Kickstarter campaign, and they finally got the devices out into people's hands. So it's a cheaper way to go than, unless you have your access center or your school district paying for your Jetpack device or for your mobile Wi-Fi device. It's a cheaper way of kind of getting that access. And I wind up using it, now I use it at my house when the internet winds up going out or I have a problem. I just fire this thing up because the data doesn't expire. So that's the last thing I wanted to mention for you.
That's smart. All right. We're like 5 minutes before session ends.
Let's give them a hand.